Loopy Mabel Vintage Style Crochet. My name is Jane, and in today's video tutorial I'm going to show you how to add a simple crochet edging trim to an item of clothing that maybe you're a bit sick of seeing, or you just wanted to liven something up that's been in your wardrobe for quite a while, and how simple it is just to add a pretty trim to give you that individual look. And obviously nobody else will have the same either, so it will be really individual to you. It's really simple. So if you want to grab a coffee, and I shall see you back here in a moment, I'm going to show you how simple it is. Right, so for today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to add a lovely crochet edging to an item of your clothing. And this is a blouse I picked up in a local charity shop, and I just thought it was so pretty, the black gingham, but then it had this lovely embroidery detail on it down the bottom. Sorry, we've got Georgie joining us today. Hopefully he'll get bored and clear off in a minute. So what I've tried to do is pick out some colours out of the embroidery with the yarn stash I've got, and luckily I think I've managed to find 3 colours that are very similar. I picked out the green and the stone and a lovely dusky pink, and I'm using the Drops Cotton Merino in today's tutorial, which is a double knit yarn. And also, to start off the crochet on the edging of our clothing, we need to use the Edge It tool. So this is a crochet hook, but it has a very fine sharp point on the end, which helps you pierce through your fabric without damaging it, for you to do your first row of crochet, and then you can move on to your crochet hook from that. So I'm going to be using this tool for the first round on the blouse. I will put the link for the Edge It tool in the description box below if you need to get yourself a set of these, but they are absolutely brilliant if you're wanting to liven up a piece of clothing and add some crochet to it. Then this is the tool I use all the time. Right, so I'm going to start on the bottom of the hem of the blouse, and I'm going to have the right side of the fabric facing me, and I've just attached the yarn to the edge there. Now if I was going to be using a denim or a heavyweight cotton yarn, I would probably use the tool that's got the actual piercing edge to it, because obviously it's a tougher, firmer weight fabric. But because this blouse is fairly fine and just a thinnish cotton gingham, I should be able to get through the blouse just using the hook. Because it's only 1.75mm, it should go through fairly easy, and I'm not worried that it's going to harm the fabric, because it just goes through fairly easy. I shouldn't need to use a piecing tool. So I've attached the yarn, so I'm just going to insert the hook through the fabric, through both layers of the fabric, and it's gone through fairly easy. Yarn over, pull through, and chain 1. And I'm just going to go down into the next space along. I'm just using it by eye to space these double crochets out. I'm going to use the lines on the gingham, and I'm also going to go in between as well as my spacing. So if you're using a fabric that's plain or floral, just by eye, just space out your stitches so they're not too far apart and obviously not too close together. And I'm just going to double crochet all along. This obviously tutorial is in UK terms, so if you're watching from the US it would be single crochets. Trying to keep my tension fairly slack. I am quite a tight tension in crochet, so I'm just trying to keep it fairly slack, and I'm just working in that tail behind. and just double crochet. So all we're doing here is basically a foundation row of crochet stitches, just so when we finish this row we've got something to insert our main hook into, and then we can do the edging, the trim edging that we're going to be doing for this blouse. So if you're joining along with me in this tutorial, if you want to do the same as me, pick up an evenly spaced row of double crochet all the way along whatever it is you're going to add your trim to. So if you want to pause the video and work all the way along the item that you're crocheting, and I shall see you when we're somewhere roundabouts here. So I've got a few more left to go, just near to the end here, so I'll just finish off this row. As I say, it doesn't have to be accurate where you insert your hook, just so that's, as long as it's even. And one more to join at the end. And just slip stitch to where we started. There we go. So we don't need that. We don't need that hook anymore. And so you should have something on the edge of your garment that looks like that, all the way around. So now we can insert our hook, and I've changed to a 4mm hook rather than a 4.5mm hook, because I think I might struggle to get my hook through this first row. So we'll go down to a 4mm hook, but whatever yarn you're using and whatever spacing you have made, obviously you just need to decide what hook is going to be best for you for that project. So for the first round, we're just going to chain one, and then down into that first stitch. It may be a bit tough to start with. Double crochet. We're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and down into the third we're going to insert our hook, work 5 trebles, skip 2, 1, 2, and double crochet into the next. Skip 2, 1, 2, work 5 trebles into the next. Skip 2 and double crochet into the next. So I'm going to continue around all the way along like this. Skip 2, 5 trebles into the next, skip 2, double crochet into the next, skip 2, 5 trebles, skip 2, double crochet all the way along. So if you are joining me in this tutorial, if you want to pause the video and work your way all the way along your item that you're adding your trim to, and I shall see you somewhere around about here. Don't worry if you don't think it's going to meet up, because it's very forgiving and we can just adapt it here when we get to this point if necessary. So I shall see you somewhere around about here. Alright, I've got almost to the end of this first row, so I'm just going to finish off, skip 2 and do my 5 trebles. I'd say the first row is the most, not difficult, but maybe fiddly. But after that it should be plain sailing. Skip 2, double crochet, skip 2, and as I said before, when you come into the end you may not necessarily have 2 to skip before the last shell. You may have a few more or a few less, but it's very forgiving. So you just work your last set of 5 trebles, which also the shell. Like so. We're just going to go into, we've got maybe 2 or 3 there that we skip, so maybe there's 1 more to skip than we would normally, but you're not going to see that, and we're just going to slip stitch into that very first double crochet that we started the round. We go, slip stitch, and we're just going to trim this yarn and pull it through to secure it. And there we go, there's our first round, which looks really pretty so far. Little row of shell stitch there, or fan stitch, whichever you want to call it. So now we're going to go on to probably the green. So we're going to start with the green, and we're just going to repeat the same row, but we're just going to offset the shell. So we just need to attach our yarn. So I'm going to attach my yarn somewhere slightly different to where we finished off. And we're going to be doing our 5 shells in the dip, and then we're just going to double crochet to the top of the shell. So I'm going to attach my yarn towards the top of the shell, and we want to be going into the 3rd treble of that 5 treble set. So the 3rd one, which is the middle one, and bring my yarn through. Chain 1, and then I'm just going to double crochet back down into that first stitch, and that's my first double crochet of the round. And then when we come back all the way around, I shall be slip stitching to the top of there. So we're going to go down now into, so we're going to be skipping 2 as before, which is the 2 trebles, and we're going to go down into the next stitch, which is our double crochet, and we're going to be doing our 5 trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then double crochet into the top of that middle treble of the shell, next down into that double crochet, do 5 trebles, and then double crochet into the top of that shell, down into the next one, and 5 trebles. So we're going to work all the way along, working 5 trebles down into the dip, that double crochet of the row before, like so. And then going to do a double crochet into the top of our shell, which is the third treble of that shell cluster. So 1, 2, the third one, double crochet, and it should sit neatly in the shell of the previous row. So we'll do that one more time. So we're going to skip those 2 and we're going to go down into that double crochet, insert our hook and do 5 trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, one more, 5, and then top of that shell, the middle one, double crochet. So if you're following along with me, if you want to continue along working 5 trebles into that double crochet, then a double crochet into the top there, and then 5 trebles again into that double crochet, and then a double crochet into the top, all the way around, and I shall see you when we're somewhere round about here. So I've worked all the way around. I've got a couple more shells to do, so I'll just finish these off. 5 trebles. I'm just going to slip stitch to the top of that double crochet we did at the beginning of the round. Slip stitch closed. Finish off that round. Snip our yarn and just fasten off. And that's our second round. How pretty does that look so far? That's gorgeous, I love it. And we're just going to continue on with our next colour. Right, so for the final round on this blouse, I'm going to add the dusky rose, and I'm just going to attach it to the middle treble of the 5 treble fan shape here. So I'm going to attach it to that middle treble, which will be the 3rd treble. So I'm just going to attach my yarn and just secure it with a knot. Insert my hook, pull through, chain 1, I'm going to go down back down into that very same stitch and work a double crochet, and then we're going to skip the 2 and go down into that double crochet of the previous row and do the 5 trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then skip across the 2 and do a double crochet into the top of that fan or shell shape, the previous row, and work a double crochet, skip again the 2 and work down into that next double crochet with the 5 trebles. And I think you can hear Geordie, he's liking this video so far. You can hear him purring away, so he's given his approval. That's good, Geordie. So now into the next one, I'm going to skip and do a double crochet on the top of that previous shell. So you can see how the pattern's forming up there again. So we're going to work all the way along. So we're going to skip the next 2. We're going to work 5 trebles into that double crochet, skip the next 2 and work a double crochet into the top, skip the next 2, 5 trebles, all the way along. So if you want to continue along, and I shall see you somewhere around about here, and I'll show you how we're going to fasten off this 3rd and final row. Right, so I've got a couple more stitches to go, so just going to finish off this round. I'm just going to slip stitch to the top of that first double crochet that we started that round with, like so. I'm just going to put our yarn and just fasten that off. So there we go, our 3 rows. Now you could continue on and make this even longer depending on what you're making it on. But I'm quite happy with just the 3 rows for that one. And obviously you can pick colours, and the different colours that you choose obviously would change the effect that you're making. You could just do 3 rows of this one colour, or 6, 7, 8 rows to make a deeper edging. But that's basically how you add a crochet edging to an item of your clothing. How pretty is that? So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial on how to transform a piece of clothing just by simply adding a pretty crochet trim edging. I've added this to the hem obviously, and I'm going to add it also to the sleeves to finish the sleeves off. Simple top that I got from the charity shop with a pretty embroidery detail, which I've picked out the colours, and obviously we've added that trim to match, and it just finishes it off really pretty. And that's how simple it is. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so then you'll be kept up to date with all the videos that I do bring out. I will leave a link in the box below for the tool that I used in the video for you to do the first row of the crochet, the tool that pierces through the fabric for you. I will leave the link for that, and also the links for the yarns that I've used in today's tutorial if you're interested in that. But as I always say, practice does make perfect, and until the next time, please take care and happy crochet.